What's going on YouTube? Today's finally the day. We're installing our 2-post lift in the garage. We got the MaxJax pallet sitting in the driveway. We're gonna go ahead, open it up, and start bringing all the pieces in. That's hard. Not smooth, right? Alright, so we got the box open and we got everything in the garage. I'm gonna start by saying two things. Alright, so first thing, here's the box, all empty. In order to take the top off, you literally just remove these tabs. They're on the sides as well. It looks simple. It took us way more effort than I thought it was to get this open. Two, all the parts weren't that heavy, but these 2 posts, I have no idea how heavy it is, but it was ridiculous. Between me and my friend, we tried to pick one up and carry it in here. It was not moving. We both tried to pick it up from one end and it was still way too heavy. So the top, it's not that bad. One person can pick it up, but this bottom half, it's just way too heavy. So what we ended up doing was just rolling them onto a side in order so we could access the back. And we went ahead and threw the wheels on. It's just a nut and a bolt. And then the handles on. They just went on with a bolt. All right, so I went ahead and laid everything out that came in the kit. So you have your hydraulic motor, you have these little extensions, you have the actual pads. This, I believe, is like your waterproof tape in a bottle. So we got these anchor bolt kit. These are for when you remove the post from the ground, you can cover up the holes, the locks, some quick disconnects. This is the flow divider, a little damper plate, I'm assuming for this. You got your little hardware set and the 2 hoses it comes with. The only thing that is missing is some parts that I moved to the side. So it's all the parts for the cart because I'm not gonna be using it. And the reason for that is, for one, I don't really have a reason to unbolt it and move it out the way, since if I want to park a car here, I can still park it. It's not that big of a deal. And 2, I don't really trust, bolting and unbolting the kit. I feel like it's gonna weaken the anchors. Whether it does or it doesn't, I have no idea, but I'm gonna just be safe and leave it in place since it doesn't bother me. And since I'm doing that, I don't like the whole idea of the cart being in the way with the hoses. So I went ahead and I ordered a bunch of connections and I ordered a whole bunch of extra hose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to mount this to the wall somewhere back there. And then when I connect the hoses, I'm gonna go from here up into the attic and come down somewhere wherever I end up mounting that machine. And in order to do that, I have no idea how much hose I need. So I just went ahead and bought 4 extra sets of 108 inches. So it should be more than enough. I have seen that some people have gotten away with only extending one side. So in reality, I could have just routed one short hose to the motor here and then just extend this one through the attic and down. And supposedly this little flow divider will even it out to where it still goes up and down together. But just to be safe, I'm gonna make both hoses the same length and run both of them through the attic, and whichever one has extra slack, I'll just leave it up there. I also went ahead and bought these on Amazon. I don't know how good they are, but should be fine. They're little post levels with the magnetic strip that I'm gonna throw on here. So once I bolt it in place, it should be level, and then I can just, before I lift the car up and after I lift the car up, I could come and check on it and make sure that it's still level and it's not starting to tilt, just to give me peace of mind. So I got both posts up. I roughly measured the distance between both of them, trying to even it out. and I went ahead and threw these on real quick. I am gonna be taking them back off, so you guys will see me install these, but I just threw them on because I'm probably gonna end up driving the Subaru through here and make sure that the arms are a good length apart, and then I'm gonna do it for the BMW since it's a lot wider. If they both fit fine, I'll go ahead and mark off the holes where I'm gonna drill. If they don't, I'll move them around and then I'll mark off the holes. Then I'm gonna drive down to Home Depot, rent out the proper drill and make them holes. So let's go ahead and get the STI in here. So we just finished bringing the STI in here to see how it fits, and it fit, but it was pretty tight. And considering the M3 is a lot wider than the STI, I just went ahead and moved both posts as far back as they could. I tried to do some research online and I couldn't get a definite answer. Some people say that they're supposed to be a certain number of inches or feet away from an edge, and some people say it doesn't matter, but I don't know. I don't really have a choice at the moment. And from watching other YouTube videos, some people have it directly on the edge just like this, and I've seen them post like a 1-year review on owning the MaxJax and it's still doing fine. So we're just gonna go ahead and try that out. But I am gonna keep the post levels just to keep checking on the level of the jacks, make sure they're not leaning. And I am looking for oversized jack stands that I can put. So once this is up and sitting on the locks, I can either put them on the car itself or under these actual posts, just to give me peace of mind. But right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and mark off all the holes where I'm gonna have to drill. Once I got the holes marked off, I ran down to Home Depot to get a rotary hammer drill, and this exact drill is about 1,500 bucks there. So I walked down to the tool rental section, and luckily they had it for about 60 bucks a day. So that's what I ended up doing. I was gonna buy a new drill bit because I didn't want to use the old dull one. But since my Home Depot is fairly new, a bunch of the drill bits in the tool rental section are actually brand new. So I went ahead and got that. I did mark off the holes because I was gonna remove the post and just drill the holes going off of the markings, but I'm trying to follow the instructions on the manual, and the manual says to drill the holes through the base plate. And I did take the drill over there to see if it would fit, and it looks like I'll be able to do all 5 holes with the post in place, so that's what I'm gonna end up doing. So like I said, I'm trying to go off the instructions. On other videos, I've seen people drill pilot holes, but on these instructions, it doesn't tell me to drill a pilot hole. I've also seen them drill it to 4 inches deep into the concrete, and that's not what it says on these instructions either. So according to this paper, it says I have to drill a minimum of 5 inches deep. And if you look at this picture here, it doesn't count the 5 inches including the base plate of the post. So what I'm gonna do is just measure the base plate and add that to 5 inches, and I'm gonna tape it off of this drill bit so that way we know when to stop. It does say if your concrete is 4 inches deep that you will drill through, but that's perfectly fine. All right, so quick update. I don't know if you've seen, but the drill bit wasn't spinning at all. So I looked this up, and this is actually in the wrong case. So this is actually a demolition hammer, where instead of a drill bit, you put a chisel, and that's why it's not turning. So I'm gonna have to run back down to Home Depot and have them swap it out with the right one. So we'll see you guys then. I got all 10 holes drilled out. If you're doing this, I highly recommend you rent out the proper drill. It makes it so much easier. Unfortunately, this was the last hole I drilled out, and I did run into some rebar. So I went ahead and bought this drill bit here, which was supposed to be concrete and rebar, but it didn't work too well, so I ended up buying this Bosch one that was specifically just for rebar. So you drill through concrete with your regular bit, you hit rebar, you throw this on. Once you pass the rebar, you go ahead and switch back. So that was able to do the trick. So the next step is we're gonna lay both posts down. We're gonna slide this part up to expose the hydraulic cylinder, and then we're gonna attach the fittings to it. So this is the plug that we're gonna go ahead and remove. Now I'm gonna take the fittings and the sealant from the kit, and we're gonna go ahead and install these. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fit this through the opening right here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the locking mechanism on. We're gonna take the locking ring. Now we're gonna take the anchor, a washer, a nut, and the longest bolt they give you. Go ahead and put the nut first. We're about halfway. Now we're gonna thread it all the way into the anchor until it stops. Alright. Now we're gonna measure from the top of the anchor to the bottom of the washer, 5/8 of an inch. We're gonna set it in and hammer it all the way to the nut. We're gonna take a wrench and hold the top of the bolt, and we're gonna take an open it until it cannot come up any further. I'm gonna go ahead and cover up the anchors until we actually put the post on. I went ahead and put the post in place and hand tightened the bolts. Now I'm gonna take my 2 post levels and I'm gonna put them on. Then we're gonna go ahead and take these wedges and put them as necessary to make sure the post is level. As you can see, we got the post level now. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the bolts down to 90 foot-pounds of torque, and then we're gonna check these again and make sure it's still level. So you can see there, we got it level. I'll go on this side. And I even put one right here where the arms are gonna go. So we got this one already torqued down. So we're gonna go ahead, do the other side, and then we'll move on. Finished getting both of these posts bolted up. I did have an issue with this bolt in particular right here. When I was setting the anchor down, I tried to pull up on it, and on that specific one, I have a little bit of play. Something about a little less than 1/4 of an inch. I try to pull the entire anchor out all together, and I can't. It doesn't go up further than that 1/4 of an inch. So I decided to just torque them all down. I got all the other bolts down to 90 foot-pounds. This one I got to about 60, and anything over 60, the entire anchor just spins with the bolt. But if I try to pull it out, it still doesn't come out. So I went ahead and ordered the epoxy anchors, and hopefully when they get here, I'll be able to pull that one out without, destroying too much of the concrete, and throwing the epoxy anchor in there, and hopefully that'll work, because I'm really not trying to cut and re-pour concrete. And I guess until it gets here, I'll just keep an eye on that one. I also got the hydraulic pump mounted up. So these two plates were actually from the dolly that goes to this pump. And I just went ahead and drilled a hole and mounted it to the stud on the wall. I threw this little block in here just to give it some support because this thing is actually really heavy and doesn't even have any fluid in it yet. So I threw that in there just to give it some support. I went ahead and mounted the two fittings and the hose that they provide. I actually bought these on Amazon. They're angled fittings since I am going to be running the hoses through the ceiling. So the next step now is I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes in the ceiling, then crawl in through the attic and feed the hoses down from here to here. All right, so I got the ladder out. I spent my time making sure to measure correctly where to drill the holes and to avoid any studs. So I made that one, I made that one, and I made these two over here. Then I pulled the ladder down, I crawled up into the attic, and apparently I haven't been there in so long that I completely forgot there's a damn wall right here. So from there back, I have access to all this through the attic. And above this is actually a hallway and half a bedroom. So I'm pretty bummed about that. So as good as these holes are, they're pointless. I got covered in drywall for no reason. So now I got 4 holes that I gotta plug up. And unfortunately, I have no choice but to just route the hose along the edges and back down to the pump. So I actually went to Lowe's and got these little wall clamps and these. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then I'll check back in. Just finished up running all the lines to the hydraulic pump. As you can see, I used those fasteners and those up on top, routed them to the pump. I did go ahead and use the same amount of hoses on both sides, so I just wrapped around the extra. My girlfriend did come out here and she did mention how come I didn't just run them on the bottom and behind that. And the more I look at it, that does make a lot more sense. But this took me so long to do that I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. But maybe later on I am gonna route it down there because it does make a lot more sense. But the next step is we're gonna go ahead and put these arms. We're gonna fill this thing up with hydraulic fluid. And then we're gonna have to bleed the cylinders and then we should be good to go. Now we're gonna add 7 quarts. Now we're gonna crack open the bleeder valves on both cylinders and bleed the system. Okay, just finished up bleeding out all the air from both cylinders. You basically just twist off the bolt on the top and get all the air out. And I believe this is the max height. As you see here, this will eventually hit this. So I'm assuming this is max height. With the locks, it's 6 clicks. And I did end up having to buy more hydraulic fluid. I'm assuming because I extended the hoses so long. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna push this out of here and I'm gonna get this one in place and try to lift it up and see if it holds. All right guys, here it is. I lifted it to its max height. Seems to be working pretty well. Like I said, I will be getting some jack stands for these posts just to give me a little bit of peace of mind. But all in all, it seems to be working just fine. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'll see you guys on the next one when hopefully we start taking this car apart.